All right, away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken right here on BearcatJournal.com. As always, visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Get down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15% off your order. Get you some fried chicken, some chicken tenders, some chicken dunkers, and some great sides, great French fries. Get yourself a bottle of Galactic sauce. Put that shit on everything. All right, Aaron, let's get this show on the road. I'm sorry for yelling at you last night. I didn't yell at you. I just yelled. I was yelling to yell.
I thought that was your normal voice.
I'm not yelling. That's just the way I talk. I don't know why my voice went up when I did that instead of down.
It's that second puberty.
Yeah. It's that 45-year-old puberty that hits. Just turned 45. I'm going through second puberty.
It's all the yelling you did last night.
Why is Dad yelling? I made everybody uncomfortable. It was great. Some interesting stuff to get to today. A lot of jostling in the
by the Johns
in Pac-12 world. Like the Pac-12 people, now that the Big 12 deal is out and they have secured their place with Fox and ESPN, and they are not only getting the money, but they're also getting the exposure. They're going to be a prominent factor in the college sports landscape for a long time. After, if you go back, the minute that Texas and Oklahoma, the minute it got out, everybody wrote off the Big 12. The Big 12 was dead.
They did.
And
then there was a new sheriff in town.
Yeah. The Big 12 has done the Undertaker thing where the casket popped open and they sat back up. And it is making some of the folks out west uncomfortable. It was John Canzano hinted that he had like a bombshell.
More like Canzano, am I right?
Yeah. Hey! That's almost as cheesy as that.
It's so bad.
Johnny Bravo wave you got going out of the top of your head.
There's a dated reference.
You can't control your hair right now, can you?
It's
out of control.
It's in that weird middle phase in between, like where I want
short
it.
And long.
Yeah, and that's hence the headband last night.
And now the hat today that just like there's no more. Basically, what this comes down to is there's no more room under that hat for hair, is there?
I mean.
Yeah, exactly. I was exactly right. My assumption was exactly right. There is no more hair that can fit under that hat currently. Like, even just then, you tried to get it all the way, and it was doing this. The major groundbreaking, earth-shattering release
that they hinted at for like 18 hours.
Yeah, that they just couldn't contain themselves. They were going to shock the sports world with Bill Walton saying he wants UCLA to stay in the Pac-12.
I'm not even sure Bill Walton knew that they were in the Pac-12 until they told him before the interview.
Oh no, that's Bill Walton's thing. The Conference of Champions. Like that's.
I'm just saying that dude is on something. Always.
No, he's on everything. And that's okay.
Okay.
But if you're going to, that's your big story, that's your groundbreaking, earth-shattering news.
That'd be like Justin Williams teasing a story that Oscar Robertson doesn't want UC to leave the AAC.
Well, no.
Or didn't want them to leave the Big East.
Oscar never played in.
Fair enough. But I'm trying.
That's like Justin writing a story that Luke Fickell is in favor of Cincinnati building an indoor practice facility. No shit. Yeah. Of course. Bill Walton has made like a second career out of being the Pac-12
mouthpiece,
like color commentator, mouthpiece, whatever. The people carrying water for the Pac-12
have to be tired. They have to be tired because it's so much water.
It's hard.
So much water.
It's hard.
I don't know. It made me laugh because John Wilner.
It was funny. It was really funny.
Yeah, John Wilner and John Canzano thought that they had like this big thing, and it was a big nothing burger. Like,
they're literally nothing. Like, and they're of this belief that somehow they're going to force UCLA to stay in the Pac-12, which they understand what that means, right? Is that the Big Ten just goes and grabs Oregon and Washington and like destroys them.
It's still going
makes them go away.
It's still going to be a mess.
Right.
A mess.
And then what happens when they make the Pac-12 go away? Then UCLA goes to the Big Ten because the Pac-12 doesn't any longer exist. That brings us to the other kind of news of the day. Pete Thamel reports that that Brett Yormark has met with the athletic director from Gonzaga. And this is not the first time that the two have met, but they met in Dallas and have discussed things.
Well, and of course, I've been talking about it since we initially first started talking about the TV deal, is that they did build in a pro rata clause where they can add what came out today with that pro rata clause is, I didn't know this before today anyway.
Power 5.
It has to be a Power 5 team. And that's what will help bring the money and all of that. But again,
Gonzaga would be interesting in that discussion.
Sure. And they don't want to be left behind. I can't blame them. I don't know where else they would fit if it wasn't if the Big 12 did dissolve, or I'm sorry.
They've talked to the Big East already.
Which that would be the only other conference I could think, right? Unless the ACC decides that they want to take another basketball-only school.
So the ACC doesn't really have anything west of like Notre Dame.
I mean, the Zags could potentially team up. I did see somebody suggest that they team up with Wichita State and try and make it a package deal for the two of them.
Greg Marshall's not coming back.
And I don't know that Wichita State's been worth a shit since he's been gone, which is crazy. Because he ran such a terrible program. He's just a horrible person.
He's a bad person. But Brian Kelly's a bad person and a great basketball football coach. Greg Marshall's a great basketball coach. He's not a good person.
That's probably about the best parallel you could have drawn there. Without dropping any other names.
Sometimes you have to protect yourself from yourself.
I hear you. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know that if it brings more money to the conference, I'm all for whatever they have to
basketball. So anything it did bring would be minimal.
At that point, though, you're potentially talking about being 7-11 and making the dance.
Oh, that's going to happen already. That's going to happen already.
How absurd would that be to be that sub 500 in conference and dancing?
6-12 might be in play.
I mean, it would. Honest to God, it would be. It would be the equivalent of what the Big Ten is looking to be in football,
or the SEC is looking to be in football.
Yeah,
and they're talking. There's conversation right now about the SEC getting Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee in the playoff. And everybody else gets one. Those conversations are happening. Because what the committee... Oh, we didn't talk about that at all. The playoff thing last night. The selection deal.
Ooh, we did not. That was a big miss. Probably because it didn't have anything to do with it.
It didn't have anything to do with Cincinnati, so... we'll finish the Gonzaga thing, and then we'll talk a minute about that because I do want to get to that of something Dave said from the Bearcat Journal account last night. Look, Dave and I kind of agreed on the end of the BCJ pod. I'm indifferent. Like, that basketball conference is going to be so unbelievable that Gonzaga is just another name.
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
But
they're not the Zogs, Aaron.
Maybe not to you.
Do you call them the Zogs?
When in Rome.
If they join the conference, do we need to get you a shirt that says Zogs?
When in Rome.
It's Gonzaga. It doesn't move the needle.
I hope they're prioritizing Washington and Oregon, not in that order.
Like I said today,
that's the top of my wish list. I don't give a shit about the Four Corner schools at this point. Because
I think Arizona would be like, I don't give a shit about 3 of the Four Corner schools. I'd like to see Arizona in the league.
I'm just obsessed with whatever it takes to get Oregon and to have that late night time slot and to be able to, because if you add that late night time slot, all of a sudden you're adding something to give you a larger portion in that pro rata anyway, because now you have added something for Fox and ESPN to have in that late night time slot. That's not just whatever shit game between USC and UCLA ends up being.
Yeah. I just doesn't move the needle to the point that I'm excited about it. It doesn't move the needle to the point that I would be upset if it happened. I do wonder if it's sending a message to Arizona, like, look, we're serious, because Arizona seems the most likely to be open to the Big 12.
Look, this isn't even about Arizona. This is the fact that you want to be able to work with Jason Scheer.
Well, that too. But according to Jason Scheer, Arizona is the most open about listening to the Big 12 that is currently in the Pac-12. I wonder if Gonzaga is throwing them a bone, like, we got you a West Coast partner, let's go.
Here's the dirty little secret, though, is every Pac-12 team is interested in hearing from anybody else because they have to see the writing is on the wall.
Yeah, they might get more money.
They're not listening to the Johns. There's no I'll be shocked if they get more money.
They might get more money, but they will not get more exposure. And they might get equal money. Like, if Amazon really steps up and gives them a big chunk, they'll be right around where the Big 12 is.
I think the only way that Amazon gives them a big chunk is for a shorter term deal than what the Big 12, hang on, hear me out, than what the Big 12 got. So it'll be less than that 6 years because Amazon's going to wonder if this is actually worth it. And then they're going to find out it was never worth it. And
we had a long conversation tonight about live sports and streaming. It's just not there yet. It's not. Maybe it will be. Maybe it'll get there.
But
it's not. It's
the
not.
Pac-12 isn't worth watching right now on cable.
Right.
What makes you think it's going to be worth watching on Amazon? That's worse than Thursday Night Football has been.
Well, Thursday Night Football is still bringing in huge numbers, but
the quality of games, I'm saying. The quality of games that you would have with late night Pac-12 on Amazon, man.
Yeah. Getting the B and C games.
Right. Like, nobody wants that.
I wouldn't want that if it was on ESPN.
You're gonna stay up for Oregon State Cal?
No,
for what?
I'm gonna turn it on and then go to bed while it's like playing out. And maybe I'll subconsciously
But you're not
watch that game.
You're not turning on Amazon for that.
Hell no.
Exactly.
The college football playoff rankings last night. I think the biggest thing was Alabama being ranked ahead of TCU, and the reason that was given was that TCU has fallen behind in games and come back and win those games. Alabama fell behind in a game
and didn't ever come back
to Tennessee, and they didn't win. And then Alabama fell behind to Texas, who's okay, and Texas A&M, who stinks. And they came back and won those games.
I'm not certain they actually watch the games. I think they just see the names and write in.
No, they watch the games, but they have an agenda.
I want to see footage of them sitting in the room watching games.
But here's the other point that what I wanted to get
doesn't exist.
Dave said, thank God I'm not putting myself through this anymore. Like last year, it was infuriating. I don't get mad at sports. Like I don't care. It's not.
Yeah, me either.
It's my job. I'm invested, but I don't like. But I found myself watching those shows last year and getting mad because I didn't feel like they were insulting my intelligence. I knew they were insulting my intelligence
because they weren't watching.
No,
because they saw the
watching,
names,
but they don't care. They have a specific agenda.
Well, yeah, and it's probably something similar to
just like
politics, where pockets are being lined and
right. And the whole point last year was everything down to the finest detail had to go right for Cincinnati to get in.
It was an inch. It was an inch.
Literally an inch. Literally an inch. Or they wouldn't have made it in after doing everything right and insulting our intelligence for 3 months. But they got in and it was all worth it, even though they didn't win the game. But I'm so glad I don't have to watch that fucking show. I will not watch it all season.
No.
Because I'm just relieved. Well, I guess if it comes down to it, and for work, I have to watch it to see if UC is the highest rated group of 5 to make a New Year's Six bowl. I guess I will have to watch it in that situation.
That's only one episode.
But I'm not watching it as we go through this song and dance all through November and into December. Y'all can kiss my ass. That's a wrap. We'll see you tomorrow night for 3 Keys. It's tomorrow night, right? Yeah. See you tomorrow night for 3 Keys. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!